Hello, and welcome to the Earth Chats podcast. I'm your host, Sahara. I'm an activist, writer, speaker, and listener with a passion for creating change in our world. Join me and special guests weekly as we have inspiring conversations and reveal insightful knowledge, tips, and tricks on how you can live more mindfully on this planet. Tune in every Wednesday and make sure to hit subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest episodes. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the episode. As a special gift to our listeners, BMDM Digital has created a 52-page free social media training guide that will help you ignite your social media. You can download your free copy in the link below. Hey guys, and welcome to another solo episode. So today, March 31st, is my birthday. It is my 18th birthday. And I can honestly say it is the strangest birthday I have ever had in my 18 years of life. Never did I think that I would be celebrating my 18th birthday in lockdown in my home and having to be isolated from the rest of my family and no birthday hugs because it'll cross the 1.5 meter line. So definitely a strange and weird time. But I felt like today would be a perfect time to kind of share 3 lessons that I have learned in these past 18 years. So I know I'm still young, spring chicken and whatnot, but I am entering kind of a new chapter of my life, and I've kind of been reflecting back on the last couple years and just, on the last 18 years, and I feel like I've learned a lot for sure. I've learned a lot about life. I've learned a lot about myself, and there's definitely so much more for me to learn about life and about myself, and I'm so excited for what the years are gonna still come to bring. But I've just been reflecting, and I feel like it would be a perfect time to kind of just share these 3 important lessons that I feel like I've learned. So the first lesson that I have learned in my 18 years of life is that you need to trust the process and just trust life, which can be really hard sometimes because life can feel like this crazy roller coaster that is just throwing you this way and that way, and sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes you don't feel great. Sometimes you just want to dig a hole and lie down in that hole and just hide from the world for a bit. But something that I've really learned is that it's okay, and just to trust the process. And what I mean by this is that even if you are feeling crappy or you are feeling like not your best, it's to trust the process and be okay with that. I feel like a lot of times in life, or at least in society, very much encourages this, that we always need to be happy. We need to be sparkly and shiny and always conquering goals and doing the best that we can. And I feel like, especially with social media nowadays, that is what everybody sees. But the thing is that it's so unrealistic. I mean, honestly, we all have bad days. We all have days or weeks or sometimes months or maybe even a year where we're just not feeling our best. And the thing is that we need to be able to trust that process. And it's really hard. It's a very hard thing to do. But if we can let go and be in that moment and work through whatever it is that we need to work through, then, sometimes we emerge from that dark time quicker or we emerge stronger. And that's something that I have really had to learn and really have had to deal with in my life. But I feel like, all those times where I haven't felt good or things, haven't really worked out, I would honestly never ever take it back, because I feel like if I hadn't gone through those things, I honestly would not be the person that I am today. So that was lesson number 1, just being able to trust in the process and trust in life to lead you on to where you need to be. Lesson number 2 is life is not random and things happen for a reason. So I know it sounds cliche, things happen for a reason, and I did talk about this in a previous podcast, but it is honestly something that is so, so true. Because if you think about it, if you imagine that we all have our little lives and we all are walking our own little paths, like life, sometimes it feels like it's just throwing you with curveballs and you're just, floating in this great abyss of life. But honestly, I can say that life is not random. And I can see this from things that have happened in my own life, from, feelings that I've had that only maybe months later or years later, I'll look back and I'll realize, wow, like what I was thinking then has come true now, or what happened then is so connected to what is happening now. And it just really goes to show that life is not random. Like life has a plan for you. And so if we're all walking these little paths, it's not like we're in the bush and we're hacking away and we're trying to create this path. And even though it's sometimes, for sure, it feels like that. And sometimes I think, yes, we do. I think sometimes we are maybe creating a new path. But I think that life has its own kind of path laid out for us. And the obstacles that we meet along the way are not random. They're all put there to help us to grow and to move on to the next level of our path. So that's lesson number 2. Things happen for a reason, and life is not random. I'm quickly interrupting this episode to bring you a little message from our amazing sponsors who've made this episode possible. I live in the beautiful town of Neisner in the Garden Route, and I want to invite everyone to visit this fantastic part of our country. We have everything: indigenous forests, nature reserves, awesome views, beautiful beaches, and natural wildlife. Come for a dream vacation. Oh, and I almost forgot. Neisner has some of the best restaurants you will find anywhere. Follow us on Instagram at @visitgardenroute, where we will introduce you to our fantastic and favorite people, places, and things to visit. This is us on Instagram at visitgardenroute. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the rest of the episode. And the last lesson, lesson number 3, that has really, really been a very important lesson and something that I've, kind of really been digging into quite recently is gratitude. And it's something that I feel not many of us feel very often, especially with our fast-paced lives. We're constantly thinking of our to-do lists, of the tasks that we need to do, of whatever is happening next, of our jobs, of what we're going to cook for dinner or feed the dog or whatever it is. And we don't have a lot of time to just be quiet for a little bit and be present and look at the world around us and feel truly, truly grateful for something. And I feel like until you've actually really felt that feeling of gratitude, you can't almost really understand it. Because I realized that gratitude is almost like a really intense feeling of love. Or even like of love and joy and wonder and everything mixed, all combined. Like I can honestly say gratitude is one of my favorite feelings to feel, because you can feel gratitude and you can just feel like your heart is just like expanding and you feel so much love, and you could cry tears of joy, and it's the most wonderful feeling. But something that I've really learned is that it's so important to feel gratitude, because through all the ups and downs of life and everything, the good and the bad, I feel like being able to connect and touch back down into a feeling of gratitude is so important because it really grounds you down into the present. So, even if I'm having a time where I'm not feeling so great and maybe something's happened or I'm just not feeling it that day, if I can just ground down back into the present moment and just really feel grateful for even the most basic things in life, it just kind of puts you in touch with what really matters. And sometimes, those whatever's bringing you down can kind of just fall away and you see that it's not as important anymore. So gratitude is definitely something that I've really learned to cherish and really learned to not take for granted. And to practice gratitude is something that I feel we should all be doing in our day-to-day lives, even if it's just 2 minutes somewhere in your day that you look outside the window and you're like, wow, it is a beautiful day outside. Or maybe you look at your cat or your dog and you say, wow, I am so lucky to have this beautiful friendship with this other being. And so whatever it is that brings you joy, love, and gratitude is just to extend that gratitude to it and to not take it for granted. I guess that's almost like another little extra lesson, is never to take anything for granted. And I know we are often always taught this when we're kids, like, don't take it for granted. But it really is true. And I feel like especially now with everything that's going on in the world and, all this just complete like turning upside down of the world as we know it, it really puts into perspective and puts into context actually how much in life we do take for granted. And we take for granted without being aware of that, I mean, I think even just being isolated and locked down in your homes, you suddenly take for granted the freedom that you have to go for a walk at the beach, or the freedom that you have to go and have a cup of coffee with a friend. It's like those little things are suddenly kind of taken away from you, and it makes you realize that, wow, we actually took so much for granted, and it makes you realize how much we actually have in our lives and how much we actually have to be grateful for. So those are kind of just the three like big lessons that I feel like I've learned throughout my whole 18 years of life, and especially in these last couple years. I feel like I've really, really grown a lot as a person, and these lessons have kind of really been very key in that growing time. So I hope you guys maybe resonated with this and that you maybe took something away from this episode, this chat, and that you maybe think on these lessons and maybe you've experienced them yourself. So I'm sending you guys lots and lots of love and gratitude from my heart to yours, and I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day or night whenever you're listening to this, and I will see you all next time. Have you taken the Plastic Pledge yet? I have. The Plastic Pledge is an awareness initiative with the aim of fighting the scourge of plastic pollution. If we know better, we can do better. And the most important thing that all of us can do as a community is to create awareness. Find the link to the Plastic Pledge below. Thank you for tuning in to the Earth Chats podcast and supporting the show. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you feel someone else could maybe benefit from hearing this conscious conversation, please do give it a share. And that's it for now, guys. I'll see you next week.